Hello, welcome back to TCTA's Summer 2018 video series. I'm Don Larson, Director of Legal Services. We continue the series with a second video about resigning from probationary term and continuing contracts. The first installment covered the right to resign without having to get consent by submitting a resignation not later than the 45th calendar day before the first day of class. Now we cover the risk of sanctions for resigning after the deadline passes without consent. The law says that a teacher employed under a contract may resign with the consent of the Board of Trustees or the board's designee at any other time. Along with requiring consent for resignations after the deadline, the law allows SBEC, the State Board for Educator Certification, to sanction the credentials of a contract employee who abandons a binding contract, in other words, who resigns without consent after the resignation date. Key points regarding consent. First, a Board of Trustees or its designee, read that as the superintendent, can consent to a resignation. A campus principal rarely has the power to accept a resignation that lets a teacher out of a contract between the teacher and the Board of Trustees. B, districts frequently let teachers resign in the summer or during the year, but only after the district finds a replacement. That can take time, and an employee may not have much time if another district wants to fill a vacancy quickly. A district has no duty other than common courtesy to move quickly to hire someone else, and hiring a replacement may have to wait for an upcoming board meeting. In the old days, 30 years ago when I first started with TCTA, many districts would allow teachers to resign at any time with some reasonable notice. As districts find it harder to recruit and keep good teachers, that happens very rarely. The proverb, "It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission," is not so true from resignations from a binding contract. If a teacher resigns without consent after the resignation deadline passes, a district may, within 30 days, notify TEA that the teacher abandoned a binding contract without good cause. The State Board for Educator Certification will suspend a teacher's credentials for a one-year period for abandoning a binding contract, and the educator's online credentials will show the record of the active suspension. After a year, a teacher can get a certificate reinstated, but the suspension record will remain on the teacher's virtual certificate, which may dissuade districts from hiring the teacher in the future. Now that we have covered the risk of sanctions, we turn to the reasons that may lead a teacher to resign from a binding contract. And we're going to focus particularly on the reasons that may prevent SBEC from sanctioning a teacher's credentials. A TCTA member who has questions about resignations or contracts can call the TCTA legal department to speak with one of our attorneys. Thank you for watching this installment of our TCTA videos.